Welcome to Collecting Chaos. My name is James, and today I'm going to start a new series that's all about the tools that I use, whether it's taking care of comic books or cleaning toys or other things. These are some of the tools that I use. And I'm going to start off today with a couple items I use all the time. So what is it that I use all the time? Well, let's start with this one. Index cards. If you think you know what I do with the index cards, pause the video and go down and bleep bloop it down in the comments down below what you think I use the index cards for. And I'll tell you if you're right or you're wrong. We'll get to this towards the end of the video. Right now, let's talk about these. These are cotton rounds. Now, I use the ones that I get from Dollar General. They're probably not cheaper than Walmart, but I think they're a better quality. I like them better. And one of the reasons why I like them better is I have to open a brand new roll because I used the last of it. I buy them in a 3-pack, 300 for 6 something, which is cheaper than what I can buy them online. And if you look at these, it's nothing but cotton. There's no stitches in there or anything that will mess up the comic. And a lot of the ones that I've used from Walmart have that. So what do I use these for? These are the ones that I use more than anything else. And I use them for a lot of different things. When I'm cleaning toys, I'll get them damp and I'll go over the toys. Or sometimes some of my action figures that I keep, I'll get it damp and go over the action figures. I do that with the packaging too. I use a little bit of Dawn dish soap with distilled water, and I'll get it just a little bit damp and I'll go over the plastic on the action figures. But the number one thing I use them for is before I start working on a comic, or even if I'm just going to put the comic in a bag and board because it's new, I take my cotton round and I gently go over it. And the reason I do this is because you don't know if that cover has dirt on it or not. Did I pull any off? A little tiny bit. You can't even see it, but there is a little tiny bit of dust that I picked off of there. And I'll do that on both sides. And on a used comic like this one, this is an older comic. This is from maybe the 70s? Yeah, 1977. So on a comic like this, I'll take my cotton round to the inside also. Because you don't know, somebody might have been eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or cookies or something, and it does take some of the ink off of older comics. Now, if you have a newer comic from the 90s and you know it's not been opened yet, you don't need to do this on the newer ones, especially with that slick paper. You should always check all of it, and I'll do that. I'll go through the entire book like that. I also go and do the inside cover as well. Because that actually took some dirt off. So that's what I do. That's the number one thing I use them for. But there's more. Sometimes I need to do a damp clean on the comic, and before that, let's say, now I'm going to use this pencil eraser because it is a nylon. I'm working on the numbers, and I'm doing some erasing on the cover very lightly. I use the cotton round to take away the eraser fines. I used to use a brush, then I end up with them all over me. Using a cotton round, a lot of time those eraser fines will stick to the cotton round and I don't have a problem. So that's two of the uses. If I'm going to damp clean a book, then what I'll do is I'll get just a little bit on the back side and it'll barely show through a spot on the inside. And I'll do this whether I'm using a MacuClean or whether I'm using a mild detergent like Dawn dish soap, which I do use that a lot, and I use it on comic books too, because it cuts a lot of different things. ImmacuClean is primarily for fingerprints. But I'll get, so that it's just got a little spot of water on there, and I don't have that with me right now, but I'll do the same thing. I'll go over it and get the comic damp, let it dry, put a little, use a different one, you know, I'll change out the cotton round. I'll use a different one with just distilled water, done exactly the same way. I get a little bit on the back, so it just barely has a dot on it on the bottom side, and I'll go over it again. And then I might do the sides like this, just because the edges take a lot of, or get a lot of dirt on them. That's how I use them for water. But there's another way to do it too. Sometimes I'll get the sponge pretty damp, and the reason I do that is before I will try to remove some spine stress, which this one has quite a bit of, with my tacking iron, which I'll show at a later on a later program, I will get this damp and run it down the area, just put it on the area that I'm getting ready to use the tacking iron on. I want this damp, not soaked wet, not all the way through because I don't want a tide mark, just a little bit damp so that I can slide my board under there and go ahead and use my tacking iron to remove the stress mark. So that's another use for them. I go through probably 300 in a week and a half. So I'm buying these every other week. That's how much I use them. It's easily the most important item in my arsenal, which is why I said it first. Now sometimes you get a book that has some problems, like this one, and I'll want to, this one I have to do a lot of work to, obviously, and I'll want to strengthen the spine with some Tengujo paper, so I have to get this damp and then iron it flat. Either I use my tacking iron or my travel iron, either way. And then when that's done, like I said, I get it damp. And if I don't think it's safe to soak the page, which happens a lot with the Silver Age and Bronze Age, and even some of the pre-Silver Age, Paul from anyway, there's a lot of comics, including ones from what I have picked up as the Dark Age, which is cool. That's in between World War II and the Silver Age, which is appropriate. But a lot of those comics are real thin, have real thin covers. And again, I'll take this and I'll lightly dampen it, and then I'll go ahead and put my Tengujo paper on it. Or sometimes I'll go ahead and, after I get it flattened out, I'll put a little methyl cellulose or rice paste on it. I almost never use wheat paste, but I probably should. And then I'll set down the Tengujo paper. And after I do that, then I'll paint it out and get it all nice and firm. Which I'm going to do that to this comic. And I'll probably do this page too. So I can put it back together. Yeah, see this? Yeah, it has a lot of loose pages. So this one needs a lot of work, and that'll come later. But I wanted to show it to you as an example. I don't always fix spine splits. Sometimes I just leave them in my collection. So that's all I'm going to talk about this. As this series progresses, you will see me use it on other things. And I will bring it to your attention when I do. So, what do I use index cards for? I I asked you to bleep bloop it down in the bottom to, what I do is I'll take an index card out. And you have to have one of these too, a pen. I don't use pens for anything on the comic. Then what I'll do is, let's say this Lois Lane. This is Lois Lane 33. Today is the 17th, so I'll put down 3/17/25. And sometimes I write the date backwards. I'll go 25/03/17. I do that a lot too. And I'll write down inspection, because that's what I did to it on this day. Okay? Next up, I'll start going through it. Okay? It's got a weak spine and spine splits, so I'll put down weak spine, spine, splits. And that's what I'm doing. I'll go through and I'll inspect the comic for what it needs. The only thing I will write down, detached first wrap, now you notice I'm not putting down the color or the page quality. Now this is a tan page. These are cream to tan. So I'm not putting that down because that's not something I'm going to try to fix. Yeah, see, there's a lot of dirt here. So it needs to be clean. Interior clean. I'm only writing down the things that I can fix. Yeah, remember I said something about cookie crumbs? Yeah, this one definitely has some cookie crumbs. But that's pretty much all that I need to clean. And of course the cover needs to be clean. So cover clean / press. And that's what I use a 3x5 card. And the next time I decide to work on this comic might be a week from now. So maybe it's the 23rd. So then I would put 3/23/25. And then I'll put down whatever work I did to it on that day. That's what I use a 3x5 card. It gives me a time frame, or tells me what I did, when I did it. When I'm done with the comic, when I'm finished with it, this will go with the comic. Not this one, because I'm going to redo it, because I'm not going to work on this today. And I'm going to go through it a little more thoroughly than what I did. Tape. We hate tape. But since I'm going to throw that bag and board away, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take the tape off of it. Put it somewhere where it can't possibly damage the comic. Put the comic back in. Here we go. That's it for today. We'll be back in a few days with some other things that I'm going to do. If you want to help support my videos, you can always go down in the description below, hit that link, buy me a cup of coffee. That's always appreciated. Like and subscribe. If you think the content would help, is appropriate and you like it and you want to help me out, you can also tell your friends about it. Get them to subscribe. What else? So yeah, coming soon. Well, actually it's already here. I have a sales channel. I have not yet put anything on it. I will start most likely this week doing videos of things that I'm going to offer up for sale. These will not be things, these are not going to be sales in and of themselves yet. I need to get a few videos, get a few likes, get a few subscribers on there first. Then I can start doing live sales, which is the ultimate goal. That's going to be it for today. Everybody have yourself a great week. Hope you enjoyed this, and hope maybe you learned a little bit of something, at least the way I do things. In the meantime, take it easy. Bye.